Welcome to Ella's Beefeaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
WPLJ FM and HD1, New York, a Cumulus station.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day. Bringing back all your favorite DJs from the past 48 years.
WPLJ, New York, New York. From Broadway to the LIE, from the Jersey Shore to the GWB, wherever you go, the best songs on the radio. 95.5 WPLJ. I'm in love with the shape of you.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day.
Please welcome back Dave Stewart.
Dan actually produced that for this?
For you, just for you, Dave Stewart.
I feel special.
That is amazing. And we can't even tell you how many times anyone in this room or in the tri-state has been driving after midnight and you have been our beacon of light to home, to work, to the diner, to the booty call. Your voice leads us to heaven.
That's the thing I most like being associated with. It's like, oh yeah, you were in the background when we were doing that.
Right.
Welcome back. It is so nice to see you here.
Thank
How's
you.
everything?
Everything is good. Everything is good. We have Christine Ritchie here as well.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for all the applause, guys.
I was trying to look around the monitor to see who else is in here.
I just see a head. There's the top of a head. Could be anybody.
I see Robin Ostrowski, who was my original producer
Yay!
from the early days.
Thank you for the applause.
Also known as the boss lady from the
That's
Danny
right.
and Onions era.
Thank you, yes,
Right.
Danny and Onions.
And you're friends with Fast as well.
Yes, of
who
course,
I think is
even
still
if I don't
here.
want to be.
Okay, that's great.
I love him.
Handsome Matt is still in here.
Homeboy Harry's in the corner. You can't see him because he's ducking down, but he's here.
And Harry, so nice to have you all here. We have had just an awesome day so far, beyond our wildest imagination when we thought, hey, let's do a reunion thing.
Well, working here is beyond almost anyone's imagination, because Fast Jimmy was telling a story before about how he came to New York through the Lincoln Tunnel, had this crazy energy and said, I have to work there. This is what I really want. But then he tells the part about he sends in a demo tape to Larry Berger, and boom, he's got the job.
I know.
Well, wait a minute. For me, it was the '86 World Series, and I had never been to New York before. And Tom Cuddy, who was there he is, vice president of programming for a while.
Yeah.
We're all working in Providence, and we're the Red Sox affiliate back in Providence. He says, I can't get you a ticket for the World Series, but not for Fenway Park. You have to go to Shea Stadium in New York. I've never been to New York before. Well, you're going to have an adventure. You got World Series tickets. So I come down, I brought two of my high school friends. It was electric. Not only was I not intimidated, I mean, it smelled terrible, it was noisy, it was dirty, and I loved it. And my reaction was like, Fast Jimmy's, I got to have a piece of this.
Yeah.
But I started sending demo tapes. It took me 3 years, not a few weeks like it did Fast Jimmy, until it finally happened.
Sorry.
There he is.
Hello.
Hi.
I just came in here to applaud for Christina.
Thank you. You're my favorite. Did I ever tell you that?
Always.
That is awesome.
So, Christine, how did you find your path to PLJ?
Well, I have kind of a good full circle moment. When I first got into radio, I looked to a female jock who was my idol, and that was Kim Ashley, who I used to listen to growing up on PLJ.
PLJ alum?
And I had just gotten into radio, and I called her one day, and I said, how are you so good on the radio? And she could have hung up on me or said, just keep at it. She said, send me an air check, and I'll air check you. Send me a tape. And she did. And she sat in the studio and played a break and critiqued it and played a break and critiqued it. And when she got back to me, she said, you're already better than I was when I first started, which was probably a lie, but, it's what I needed to
Kim
hear.
is really humble. I believe it.
And then she said, you just have to promise me one thing. When you work in a major market, because you will, you do the same thing. You pay it forward. When somebody calls you, you do that. And I'm happy to say that I've done it. And I got to work with her in Philly, which was fantastic. And then I got to work at PLJ, which was, I work at the station that she worked at that I listened to growing up. But it's weird because I didn't actually apply for the job when Jamie Lee left. I was like, New York, I can't do that. Oh, my God. But then
that sounds like you.
But then they were looking for someone, and they asked Dan Kelly, who works here doing imaging, and they said, "Who's the best female jock that you know?" And he said, "Well, my friend Christine." And so then I applied, and I got the job.
I know. And shout out to Dan Kelly. So Dan's the one who produces all these really cool effects you hear leading into these reunion breaks. And Dan's not a DJ here, but his work, his signature is on this radio station in a mind-blowing sort of way, and his work is just spectacular. I had a story about somebody in Boston who did the same thing for me when I was a teenager. Her name is Nancy Quill. This is the early 80s, and she is the midday jock at Magic 106 in Boston, and was back then. And she took me under her wing and gave me an air check when I wasn't even old enough to really be in Boston by myself. But that's it. It's about mentoring and the things that happen.
Well, at listening today, everyone has a similar story. I used to listen to this jock on this radio station. I have air checks of Fast Jimmy and Kim Ashley. We all, studied and modeled ourselves after these legendary jocks, and that's why we're all working here.
Right. And if they weren't in your town, you went to California Air Checks and you ordered a cassette for more money than you made in an hour and waited for it to get there so you could then study and analyze every break.
And it was the best thing ever when it arrived. It's like, that's how they do it in San Diego. That's how they do it in Philly.
At what point do I actually feel like I'm as good as them? Is it going to happen?
I don't know. But I also think that's a good sign.
No.
Because you always feel like you're working on it.
Right.
If you care about the craft, you're always trying to get better or trying to perfect some aspect
in any field. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even if it comes to answering the phone and an unexpected call from someone who swears they are John Mayer. In the words of Warner, let's go to the videotape.
PLJ, it's Christine. I have one last review of the John Mayer show. So what'd you think?
I've seen a lot of John Mayer shows, and I spend a lot of time focused on his eyes because I feel like the eyes are the windows to the soul. And tonight I was looking deeper than most nights. It was a depth to his eyes and his playing, a depth to his playing. They say playing guitar just like ringing a bell. I've seen a lot of people ring bells, and this guy blew all those bell ringers away. This guy was playing 6 bells, known as strings, up and down the neck, like grease lightning.
Well, I got to say, this is the best review of a John Mayer show I've ever heard.
It was amazing. Oh, by the way, it's John.
John Mayer, what's going on?
By the way, I have to tell you, it took me like 2 or 3 calls to convince anybody that it was me.
No, I know. Well, that was my producer. That's her job.
Oh, to Bailey deflect the John Mayer impersonator.
You'd be surprised. People actually try and do that.
But I was singing to her. I was going, your body is a wonder, I don't use my hand.
Really? She didn't tell me that you sang.
I was like Bruce Willis calling from Nakamichi Towers to get back up.
Well, don't you think that's good, though? That we don't let just anybody come on and say they're John Mayer and review your show?
Yeah, no, I like that. It's a real tight ring of security. Make sure they know funny bits.
I'm sorry. I hope you're not offended.
No, I'm only kidding. But I actually want to tell you, it was a great show tonight, and playing the New York area shows are always they're always something else. The place was totally packed, and if you're in the car on the way home, and thank you. I hope you had a great night. It was really, really fun.
Well, hey, thanks for calling.
Hey, play me another Maroon 5 song. I haven't heard enough of that this summer. No, play whatever you like.
I got to say, I really love your new song, Daughters.
Thank you. Play Daughters. What would be great? If you would play Daughters, then I could turn to my manager as I'm singing along and go, who sings this song? And he goes, you, and I go, let's keep it that way. What's your name again?
My name's Christine.
Christine. I'll have your job, Christine. I'll have your job for this. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot.
Don't hold it against me.
No, I'm not holding it against you.
I haven't met you yet. Everybody else at PLJ met you but me.
Well, then we'll meet. We'll hang out sometime.
Okay.
I'll come in the studio. I'll play Daughters acoustic sometime.
Okay. Well, I have you on tape saying that, so I'm going to hold you to it.
All right, I got to go. I just hit a bear.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, my God. That's embarrassing.
That's awesome.
Especially when he sang. I mean, it's clearly John Mayer.
Yeah, it clearly is.
So mother, speak it to your daughters too.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day.
Yeah! Woo! My name is Race Taylor. Joey Kramer is here. Our studio is filled with old friends from the PLJ era. Let's just call it 1999 through, what shall we say, 2012? Something
Ever.
along those? Yes, ever.
Yeah.
Christine Ritchie is here. Dave Stewart has joined us. Robin, my original producer, is a voice that you're probably familiar with. And I'll just play for you why right now, if I could.
Kid Rock! Kid Rock, do roll!
There it is.
Oh, my God, that was you? Oh, my God!
She didn't want you to know that.
After all these years, you had no idea.
I didn't. I thought it was just like a drop.
No, here's the thing. When you're on after morning drive and you're trying to make an impact over shorter intros, you find tiny bits of sound. It's like, how can I grab someone's attention? What can I play repeatedly that people will find A, entertaining, B, annoying, all encompassing, and then C, maybe a running thread throughout the show that is day to day to day. Because
that drop is spectacular.
It is. And if we were to play a Kid Rock song and not play Kid Rock You Rule, here it is.
Kid Rock! Kid Rock, you rule!
People will write or text and say this song doesn't count because you didn't play the thing.
Yep.
So, Robin, if you would please be so kind as to share the story.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows the story. The backstory to that is I almost got into a fight getting that.
Come on.
The kid, I know you find that hard to believe.
That's shocking. Very shocking.
Well, it was at the VMAs, and I can't even believe you guys let me go down there. I had no idea what I was doing. I got like a portable DAT player, and I've got like the PLJ mic, and I'm just swinging it around. I don't know what I'm doing. There was a woman from New York 1 sitting in front of me, and she was, everybody was doing her hair and making sure she looked good. And I got this mic, and I'm screaming at who was ever walking by down the red carpet because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Robert Downey.
Exactly. I don't
Robert Downey.
What kind of pizza you like? Like, I had no questions ready. I didn't know. So I see Kid Rock coming out of the limo, and I'm like, Kid Rock. Now, she's already yelled at me several times to stop yelling in her ear, and she was mad. So I'm like, okay, I got to behave because Tom Cuddy let me do this, and I got to be on my best behavior. I don't want to be in a fight on the red carpet. So I see him come out, and I can feel it welling up in my belly. And I'm like, oh, God, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And if you have the job handy, I screamed out, Kid Rock, you rule! And she looked back at me like she was ready to choke me. That was my last one. That's all I got.
That's awesome.
That is fantastic. And I can tell you in its entirety that segment is about 20 seconds long. There was not just one yelling of Kid Rock. This was as if the car behind you was on fire and he was the only one with a box of baking soda.
It's so true.
Unbelievable. Who else do we have that has walked into the room or standing outside?
I see Bobby Valentine.
Bobby Valentine is standing right across from us.
Come on over.
And we have
Bobby, you need a microphone.
Hang on,
Bobby's got to get some headphones so he could hear
let's
this.
Let's get some things for that.
No. Bobby's got some headphones.
It'll bring back some memories for him.
We also need to crank up the volume just a tad.
Oh, sure. We can take care of that. Absolutely. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm doing great. And by the way, I have to tell you, Race, this is like a marathon, and you are hosting it, and you are doing one phenomenal job.
Yeah, thank you.
I have to tell you, it's just
Joey Kramer will be doing my last show tomorrow.
There you go. Yes, and a very well-deserved sleep you're going to be getting.
That's right.
So tell us your time here at 95.5 PLJ.
Okay, I was here from 85 until 89. I was given the name Bobby Valentine. My name is not Bobby Valentine, nor is my name Danny Hernandez, in case anybody wanted to know.
Yeah, Danny Hernandez. Yeah.
You see, and this is the thing that bugs me out. It's like, oh, that was you? Whereas, more often than not, people would never have known. Scott gave me the name Danny Hernandez. And, you got to remember now, Scott was new to New York. He had just come from Q105 in Tampa. And I guess he thought that this was the quintessential New York name. I just thought mine was. So I'm looking on now, unfortunately, here I'm telling a Z100 story, and I'm on PLJ. But anyway,
that's all right.
Is it okay?
That's fine.
I could wax philosophical all afternoon.
Perfect.
You might want to turn the microphone off at some point. No, I'm looking on the schedule, and I turned around to Chuck Crane at the time, may he rest in peace. And I said, Chuck, where am I? And in his inimitable fashion, he looks at the schedule and goes, "You're right there, Danny Hernandez." And I said, oh, my God. My mother told everybody in Kings Plaza to listen for Ray Rossi, and my name is Danny Hernandez. Oh. By the way, not that there's anything wrong with that. That's fine. So fast forward maybe a couple of years. I am finally now being wooed, if you will, by Larry Berger. Finally get the job at PLJ, thinking full well that I'm going to be using my own name, Ray Rossi. Mm-hmm. And no, it doesn't happen that way. I'm in our family bakery in Brooklyn. At the time, I was, I needed a job. I had to do something for money. And he calls on the phone and says, Ray, I came up with the perfect name for you. I go, what would that be? He says, you're the quintessential New Yorker. He said, you could be either Italian, you could be Spanish, or you could even be Jewish. And I looked through the Manhattan phone book and I found the name Bobby Valentine.
And is that any of those categories?
Well, wait a minute. It gets a little bit better. He said, I found Italian Valentines, I found Spanish Valentines, and I even found a Jewish Valentine. So there you go.
The rest is history.
And the rest truly is history.
Wow.
There's loads more where that came from. Trust me.
That is crazy. Yeah. We want to make sure that you can interact with us on social, and you can hit us with a text message at 95955. Our hashtags for a while now have been hashtag PLJ Memories and hashtag PLJ Reunion Day, which is what we're in the midst of right now. We're going to take care of a few things inside the studio while we play this, and we'll be right back with more on 95.5 PLJ.
5 PLJ Reunion Day.
Jimmy, JJ, Bobby, in the house.
Oh, so great to see you guys.
Hey, man.
Jimmy Deal, what is going on?
Great to be here. It seems like yesterday, though. I mean,
seriously,
unbelievable.
Time flies.
It does. Everything looks so different, though.
Does it?
It does. It really does.
Does it have the same feel when you came up here?
It does. It does. It seems like yesterday back in the elevator, 17th floor,
right.
Man. It's I was here when they built those studios, so it's amazing. It's amazing to be back here. Thank you so much.
Oh, I was never in this building, but I got to tell you, it's nice to be back here at the Iron Throne. I never thought I'd be back at the Iron Throne.
Oh my gosh!
And here it is.
The voice of J.J. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's actually some good karma here.
Yeah.
Even though, unfortunately, this is like the next to last day. There's some good karma in this studio right now because of everybody that's been brought back.
Mm-hmm.
Back when we had moved into the building, not so much.
Okay.
Yes, we'll let that lay there.
Yeah, no, I want to hear more stories about those days.
I already told you one.
But you know what? That's a good point about this room that we're in right now. This has been the Air Studio for PL. I almost did what Scott did. I almost said CBS FM. Yeah. This has been the PLJ Air Studio for almost 30 years straight. This room or the one next door, which is Scott and Todd's room. It's very rare for a station to stay in one spot for that long. But this has been the room. So this room was my office for 22 years. Right. It's just crazy when you think about that.
So that goes to show you how long ago it was since I was on WPLJ.
Yeah.
If you've been here for 30 years. But
I remember you on PLJ, I remember you on Light FM. Sure. It's like your voice in this market is iconic.
Oh, thank you. But, it's funny. I do have a story about my name.
I hope I can hear
Please.
it.
Okay, can you hear it?
Yeah, I can. I'm ready. I'm
ready. And that is, to be honest with you, I worked 10 years under my real name, which is Mary Ann Roque. Okay. Then I get a call from Larry Berger one day, and he said, and I worked at BLS and NEWAM, and I was on the country station in New York, Kick, under my name. Get a call from Larry Berger. Larry says to me, he goes, "We want you to work at WPLJ." And I'm thinking, oh my God, my dreams are all coming true. And he goes, "Here's the deal." And he told me the amount of money, and he said it would be from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., and you have to change your name. And I thought for a second, and I said, I said, I already make that kind of money. I said, I have better hours at Kick FM, and I don't want to change my name. And he said, well, what if we gave you middays, 10 to 2? I said, hey, so what are you going to call me? And that's how that happened. So, and it stuck. Everybody liked JJ. So to this day, a lot of people still just refer to me as JJ.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It is.
You had a great run, and you had an incredible run at Light FM.
I did. And then after that, I had WOR, where it was John Gambling's sidekick for 5 years.
Oh, my gosh.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And once again, I think that's the PLJ cachet. Having that on your resume did me, pretty well.
Sure.
Up until after WOR.
Amazing.
But that's okay.
It's true. I took it for granted as well. I thought when my time was up at PLJ, because, radio jobs were starting to slip away as it was. Okay, my time in local radio is ending. Time to start looking at new things. And CBS FM came along shortly after.
Yeah.
So it is. PLJ opened doors for people in a way that's just really hard to wrap your head around. It's like hitting the radio lottery.
Absolutely.
It is.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter at what level you entered those doors, because there's a text that came in just now. It said, "You guys have all made me who I am today." Dave, Joey, Robin, you brought an intern from the 90s to an APD MD on the air today. Justin Lewis.
Oh, Justin.
Man. Well, there's a name from the past.
J-Rock.
That is amazing.
He's a terrific student, and he's had a fantastic career.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
So I need another story. Jimmy, if you would be so
The mornings. I started here with mornings.
Because you've seen some things, and you've worked in what was a tough room.
Absolutely. Yeah. I started with Archer and Rusty and Gary Bryan and Linda, and then Rocky Allen and Scott and Todd, and we did so much. I started doing the celebrity spotlights and all the celebrities, and I had worked for Robin Leach. I was an assistant to Robin Leach before I did this, and I worked for Robin Leach for about 3-4 months. Came over to PLJ because I wanted to do radio, and I started interviewing all types of celebrities. Rocky thought it was a great idea. He sent me out. It was Tom Jones, Wayne Newton.
Wow.
Everybody. I mean,
How
it was
old
unbelievable.
are you?
34.
I started young.
And those are all your faves, by the way.
They're all my faves.
Right?
And they still are. Yeah, I
Sure.
remained relationship, with Tom Jones and Wayne Newton to this day.
Wow.
And I see them every now and then, and they're great. And it's been a fantastic run, and thanks to PLJ for opening so many doors for me.
Yeah.
And didn't they send you out? Was there a pink Cadillac that they sent
There
you out?
was.
You were dressed as Elvis or something back
Yeah,
in the
well,
day?
Elvis was my idol.
Yeah, of
so
course.
They had a big Mojo pink Cadillac, and they dressed me up like Elvis, sat me on the back, and Gnarly Charlie at the wheel, and we drove around Manhattan handing out T-shirts.
Oh, man.
That mental picture.
That is a great story.
There was budget for T-shirts?
Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Speaking of T-shirts, I have a box, and they gave me a wardrobe. They didn't pay me a lot back then, but they gave you a wardrobe. And in fact, I have so many T-shirts, I couldn't decide which one to wear. So I have to laugh that, as the years went on from different radio stations, it did get less and less. And we took it for granted back in the day. This was 83 to 88. That's my class. Wow. And we had T-shirts for football, hockey, basketball. We had all kinds. Jackets. I have another jacket here. I wore one to the party last week, a different one. Right. There was no expense spared because we were walking billboards.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And earlier today, I heard someone talking about how the stations back in the day were very distinct. And then if you put a banner up, and you were having an event, and then rival radio station would come along and stick on a bumper sticker. Sure. And that's how it was back when I was, at PLJ, because everything was so distinct. They wanted you out there in a T-shirt. They wanted you to, say WPLJ.
Right. Oh, yeah. It was famous. Steve Kingston, who ran Z100 back in the late 80s after Scott had moved to L.A., Steve was famous for a quote. And he's friends with all of us in this room, so I don't think he'll mind me saying, he told his Z100 people, you are not to talk to the PLJ promotion people because radio is war. And knowing Steve, he's not kidding.
Absolutely.
It was the truth.
Amazing. We've got some phone callers ready to go, but first we're going to check the ride. It's our reunion day.
95.5 PLJ. Right now, traffic
Continues. Here's Alan.
What was once a run-of-the-mill radio quiz game has become a national obsession.
I'll go 3.
That's right. People have asked, how does he do it? Is he for real? How can one man be so smart? But the one question everyone asks, will he ever lose? Beat the Bruiser. Tomorrow morning, Bruiser takes on 3-time Jeopardy champion Jack Horan from Califon, New Jersey. On the line, $1,400 and an 8-day, 7-night vacation for 2 to Club Med Turks and Caicos. Bruiser the producer goes for 44 in a row. Tomorrow morning at 7:30 with Scott and Todd on PLJ.
Oh, my God. Wow. I can't believe at one time we had $1,400 to give away. Those
were the days.
Fascinating to me. On the phone, checking in from Arizona, this should be Bruiser, the producer.
Bruiser!
What's up, guys?
Hey!
I had to be part of this.
Absolutely you did. My Lord, you were a producer for that show for how long, my friend?
Oh, 100 years.
Felt like it, right?
Yeah, it was 5. It was 5, but it was a long 5. But it was the experience of a lifetime, I got to say, and I got to work with all you great people.
Tell us about that run you had on that quiz show, because you went for a long time being undefeated.
Yeah, I think it went to 48 games. As a matter of fact, the best part about it was Scott Shannon said, if you can go 20, I don't think you can go 20. If you do, I'll pay you $100.
Oh, wow.
And I went And that 20th game was great. And he wrote me a check, and I still have it.
Wow.
But that was a great run. You know, people still ask me if I know all that stuff, and time has a way of working on your head, and I can tell you that all the information's still on my hard drive, but my RAM is shot. You ask me a question now. You ask me a question at noon, and at 2:30 in the morning, I sit up in bed and go, Charles Nelson Riley.
That is
But
how the
anyway,
brain works, man.
Yeah, but it was great seeing you guys the other night, and ever since then I've been thinking about all these things. All these memories start coming back to me, when the time that Tom Cuddy came to me and said Warnock had a PT Cruiser they wanted to give away, the brand new hot car, PT Cruiser. And Survivor was real big, so I came up with that Survive It and Drive It. Remember that thing?
I do remember that, sure.
Yeah, we jammed 6 people in there, and they had to live in there for a week, and all we fed them was bean burritos. Remember that?
Oh, jeez.
Yes,
Every one of these
unfortunately we
stunts had a twist.
Yeah.
Right? I can make it 6 days in a car, but not just on bean
There's a reason I
burritos.
pushed that one out of my head.
Exactly.
And then one of the guys made friends real fast. He brought an acoustic guitar with him and jammed it in the back seat with everybody.
Oh, man.
And I also remember, this is a great memory, is the time that Paul McCartney's office called me and said they wanted to bring Paul McCartney in to the morning show. He had an announcement to make. And so there came Paul McCartney into the show, and he announced that concert for New York City, which was amazing. He told the story about how his father was a firefighter, and that was a great moment.
Sure. And that was
But
an
here's my
amazing
favorite
night.
one. Yeah, it was an amazing night. Here's my favorite one, though. We used to go to sleep very early for the morning show. And I always checked my email at my voicemail at work before I went to sleep. And there was a message from a guy who said he represented Gary Coleman. And I should call him anytime I get this message. So I called the guy, and he tells me Gary Coleman's in the city, and he wants to come on the show, and he wants to promote his new thing. And so when I asked him what the new thing was, he said, this is way before GoFundMe or whatever. Mm-hmm. Gary Coleman started a web page, a website, and the purpose of the website was so his fans could give him money.
Oh,
and I said,
okay.
What's he doing? What's he doing with the money? He's keeping the money. He wants the money. So I said, well, that's interesting. So I told him to meet me at the radio station at 4:00 before anybody got there. And so before Scott and Todd got there's Gary Coleman sitting in the hallway, and I brought him in my office, and I think I stored him in my bottom desk drawer. He's very portable, and I told Scott and Todd that I had a mystery guest. And they said, well, who's the mystery guest? I said, well, that would sort of, that would ruin it, wouldn't it? I said, just trust me. And they said, well, we got to know who it is. I said, you know what? It doesn't even matter who it is. When this guy tells you why he's here, the phones are just going to blow up. So we played the quick game. They guessed Gary Coleman, and then he goes on and tells everybody he wants them to send him money. And lo and behold, the phones just went crazy. And nobody was feeling the love. I mean, that guy really got it between the eyes, and it became a national story. The next thing we know, Access Hollywood's in the office, Entertainment Tonight. It was on all the news stations. It went viral before viral was viral.
Wow!
It was quite the guest.
Brewster, the producer, logging 5 years. Scott and Todd on 95.5 PLJ. Thank you so much for checking in, my friend.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world. You're doing a great job, Race.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you listening, and we've got some audio that we will share later in the show. Thank you for being such a big part of this today.
You got it. Take care, everybody.
See you, Bruce.
All right, we'll see you, Bruce.
Bye.
We have in the studio the man who is the longest-running PLJ talent. You have heard him weeknights since, I'm going to say, 73?
75, but 73 is when I first came here. And that was my other career, and that was being a rock and roll disc jockey.
This is Bill Ayres.
Yeah.
Bill,
welcome.
Holy cow.
But that was an interesting one because I met some great people there. One of the first people that I did a show was with Harry Chapin.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, he and I became partners, and we started Why Hungry together.
Yes.
And that all started at PLJ and ABC Radio Network. I was doing a show called On This Rock. And then there was a man by the name of John Hammond. Great, great man. You all know about him. He was one of the great producers. And he's the one who discovered everybody, including Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
So he came on my show and he said, "You should do a show with Bruce." He said he's never done a network show before. I said, "Oh, great." And so Bruce came up and we did a network show together. It was the first time ever.
Mhm.
And that started a relationship I've had with him for all these years.
Sure.
And Billy Joel and so many different people that I interviewed in the world of rock and roll. But the show that means the most to me is the Midnight Show. We did our last one. I say we because my wife was on with me.
I saw. Yeah.
And I started that one in 1975. Larry Berger called me into his office, and I thought, uh-oh, I wonder what that's about.
Mhm.
And he said, "We love what you're doing. Is there a but to this?" No, there wasn't a but. It was an and. He said, "And I'd like you to do a midnight show." I said, "What?" He said, "Bill, this is New York City, you know." And we did. We had a really big audience, and I started doing it in '75. And I've did it pretty much every Sunday night for 44 years.
And would you play music on that show?
Yeah, we did.
So would you break artists? Some of these folk-based artists, would they be part of that show? Or
Well, I did shows with Southside Johnny.
Mhm.
Did shows with Harry. I did shows with Jesse Colin Young. I did shows. There's a number of different performers. Yeah, and some new ones as well.
Got it.
Now, I remember one night that I was actually working with you one night when I think Tony was unavailable, and Bruce had sent you an advanced copy of an album that hadn't been released yet and gave you permission to play some tracks from it. Was that The Rising, or was that before The Rising?
No, it was The Rising.
The Rising.
Yeah.
Bill got the world exclusive on the radio for The Rising. That's the kind of relationship he has with Bruce Springsteen.
That is amazing.
He and I had done something. I think about this. This was after 9/11, and he was going to do a couple of concerts for Y Hunger down the shore in New Jersey. And, we all decided we had to do it for the folks who had lost somebody down there.
Sure.
So we all went down, and, it was loaded. John Bon Jovi showed up, and everybody showed up. And, we did that show together. And one of the great things about Bruce was that he before each concert, there were 2 concerts, he and Patty and Barbara Carnice stayed in a room, and all the people who had lost somebody came in. And Bruce hugged them and signed things for them, and it was just an amazing, amazing time.
Yeah. Wow.
So at the time, I had written a piece that was in one of the newspapers in New Jersey, and I knew that there was this record coming out, and Barbara and Dave Marsh asked Janine and I to go up to their house, and they said, "We're not going to bother you. We're going to put it on, and you tell us what you think." And after about 45 minutes, they knocked on the door and said, "No, we want to know. What do you think?" And that was The Rising. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
And it was just a great, great album. Great album. So I've had a lot of history here. And
Yes, you have.
It's sad to see it go. But I'm not finished. People say, "You're old, you should be finished." I'm not finished. I'm not finished. And by the way, folks, you want to get in touch with me, it's bill@yhunger.org, bill@whyhunger.org. And I want to thank all my friends here who've been just great over all these years, and there's so many more of you that I haven't met that are standing outside in different places. This is about like another family for all of us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's always been a common thread here with this radio station. Jim Kerr had spoken about it before, and then Dave, you elaborated on it. No matter what era you're from, it's hard to explain to people with this radio station what it has meant to us, especially. It is like a family. It's hard to explain unless you have been here.
Yeah.
And even if we haven't worked together, or J.J. Kennedy and I have never worked together, but we just feel like we have this bond. It's pretty insane and special too.
Yeah.
And I've stayed close with some of the people over the years, especially Tom Cuddy.
Yeah.
Tom Cuddy is still a great friend, and he has been so supportive, and he has helped Y Hunger enormously. And of course, the Hungerthon has been on PLJ for the past few years. So I want to thank everybody for that. And we'll be doing the Hungerthon again this year, folks.
Yes.
The Tuesday before Thanksgiving will be on a whole bunch of radio stations. Unfortunately, not on this one.
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much for coming in, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Happy to
Thank
be
you
with
for
guys.
your work on this radio station and all you've done. Now, with Bill's conversation about Bruce, and Bruce, the producer, who was just on the program, who was the producer.
I see where this is going.
Not quite exactly yet. Bruce, the producer, was the producer on 9/11 with Scott and Todd, and he sent us some audio that I think it would not be a proper reflection of this radio station and it's part of the community if we did not share this, because it was a day that we will never forget, and it is a day that most of our text messages and emails always recall, and this is powerful. And it was something that was put together shortly after 9/11, and it is the role that this radio station played on that day. And I know maybe today this might not be something that everybody wants to hear, but it is something that should be played because we love this city, our first responders, and no matter what happens in what era, this will always be part of our history. And we were so happy that we could maybe be the voice or the calm or the reassurance for you. This is a mixdown of Scott and Todd and the day of 9/11 and just after.
Witnesses here who are listening to the radio station. Janice?
Yes.
Hi, Janice. Hi. What can you tell us?
Well, I was coming up the elevator, and everybody started heading for the doors and said, don't put your bag down. They're probably going to evacuate the building. And then, they came on the overhead system and said, it doesn't affect this building. Please remain calm. But everybody's got their noses pressed to the window. There are things falling out of the windows.
Janice, can you tell what floor it is?
It's all the way up at the top on the easternmost side
right.
of 2 World Trade. But like Scott said, there is breakthrough. Windows are broken on all sides of the Trade Center, and smoke is pouring out of them. I think I saw a computer monitor fall to the street about 5 minutes ago.
Good God.
It's awful. It's so awful. And you know what? If 10 to 9, everybody's in that building. I'm so scared that these poor people.
Now, which building are you in?
I'm in Merrill Lynch's South Tower, so 225 Liberty, directly across the street. We have a full view.
Are they getting you out of that building? Or
no, they just keep coming on the the overhead saying, please remain calm. It does not affect this building. But, down the street, we can see people running out of the Trade Center, being, ushered across the street as fast as they can because they're evacuating.
Hold on, Janice. We have they're talking to another eyewitness.
Oh, something else just blew up.
Oh, my God. Did you see, was that a plane?
That's a plane.
Oh, my.
Right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's going on.
Okay.
Something is attacking this building.
Yeah, there was a plane that just swooped around.
The whole top part.
Okay.
The building's still intact. People are running up the street.
God, that came out of the building. That didn't fly by, Bill.
That went into the building.
It looked to me like there was a jet airliner that just turned right into it again.
Well, if you just flip the radio on, it's a little after 9 o'clock. This is WPLJ New York. Scott and Todd in the morning. There is a horrible disaster.
Second hit.
That was a second hit. Confirmed now. Another plane. That building is under attack.
Another building.
It's another building
it's
now.
The South Tower.
It's the other building.
It looked like it was the other building from that shot. Look at that.
My
God. It's further
Now,
down.
this is terrorism. The second building, there are 2 that both Twin Towers now are on fire. Now, this was not the case. Am I correct?
Another eyewitness that they're speaking with right now.
One went into the other tower. What do you see around you? I mean, are you in smoke? Are you in fire? I mean,
the first thing that I want to make clear is that I'm stuck on the 86th floor. A fire door has trapped us. Debris has fallen around us, and part of the core of the building is blown out.
How many people are with you, Jim?
I'm with one other person, and I'm told that people are aware of this. I'm on the 86th floor on the east side of the building facing the East River.
And what time did you
I'm
get?
on the air. I want to tell anybody that has a family member that may be in the building that the situation is under control for the moment, and the danger has not increased. So please, all family members, take it easy.
Jim, one of our producers, too, if you'd call NYPD and let them know exactly where Jim and that other person is stranded. 86th floor.
86th floor on the east side of the building facing the river.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
There are 2 of us here.
Okay, Jim, we'll try to try to make sure that we can alert everybody, and also it's good that you did mention that families should, to some extent, to have some calm right now. What time did you get to work?
I got to work around 8 o'clock this morning, and I think this happened around 8:45.
It did. Describe what you felt.
I felt just the whole building. I heard a noise, felt the whole building shake, and saw glass blown out. The glass on my floor was blown out from the inside of the building out, rather than the exterior windows being blown out. Glass fully shattered, and just the core of the building, the interior core of part of the building collapsed.
This is Sandy. Hello, Sandy.
Hi.
Once again, Cantor Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Oh, that's just a...
I heard the other lady on the phone crying before from Cantor Fitzgerald.
Well, I think there are a lot of people with friends and relatives from Cantor Fitzgerald shedding tears because they were so high up, and they've only located like 1/10 of the employees.
Yes.
And they were at the 103rd floor through the 105th floor and on the 101st floor.
Yes, this guy was on the 104th floor. His name is Donald F. Lito, if anybody heard anything from him. AFFLITTO.
All right. You haven't heard from him since the attack?
No, he called his wife before the building collapsed, and that was the end. That was the last we've heard from them.
Has she remained home, or has she gone to the site, or what?
They're all at the parents' house
Oh boy, where do they live?
in Wayne, New Jersey.
It's a tough time, just a horrible time. God bless. Good luck to them.
Thank you.
There's a couple thousand stories like that right now. There sure are.
You can hear me?
There you are. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I wanted to make a plea. My brother, Marty Borchevsky, worked for Cantor Fitzgerald. He was on the 104th floor. And all the calls that we're making, we're not getting very much turnout for Cantor people. And I'm just, if anybody saw him anywhere, or if anybody from Cantor got out, if they could call us and just tell us something, just anything.
Well, that was one of the offices obviously hit very, very hard because they were so high up and there's so many of them.
I was on the phone with their Los Angeles office, and they were on the gentleman I was speaking with was on the phone with one of the departments on his floor right when it was hit, and he said they were evacuating, but they were going to be taking them up, and then so I don't know what happened. We just, please, if anybody has seen him, his name is Marty Borchevsky. He's 29 years old. He's about 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got hazel eyes, dirty blonde, short hair. Please call us. Call my mother's house at 973.
Hang on, we'll get your number.
Get the number for you,
hold on one
Joe.
sec.
In this time of...
Or anybody from Cantor. We just, at least to hear if anybody got out. Anybody. Please, it's 973.
We'll get your
a
number.
second.
Hold on.
Oh, my God. We talked about Cantor Fitzgerald this morning, and it's not good news.
Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind.
That is Bruce in The Rising, and this is 95.5 PLJ. I'm Race Taylor. It is our reunion day. Hang on one second. We need to stop that.
That
was really loud.
Shut them up, because we need to chat a little bit after that.
We cannot let anything else happen at this moment. We're all in the studio still shaking over everything that we have heard over the course of the last 7 minutes.
I'd just like to say that shows you what an amazing part live radio in New York City plays in the lives of people.
Yeah.
They come to you for joy. You've made them laugh. You're in their homes, you're in their bedrooms, you're in their bathrooms. And then there's a tragedy. So who do they turn to? Their family members, the people they have shared so much with. And being there for them in a live moment was probably the most comforting thing that people could hold on to. Yeah. And I think it was an amazing job.
Yeah. The text messages coming in. What a tragic day. I will never forget. Thank you for sharing that with us. Scott and Todd's coverage of 9/11 was extraordinary. It is an extremely sad day, but maybe some people who did not hear this before need to hear it now to understand the gravity of what happened in New York City. This is so hard to listen to, but you are 100% right. PLJ was such a part of that day. And another one that says, thank you for sharing that montage. Radio, music, each of you helped bring us together as a city on a day that was never more imaginable than anything else. Thank you. We are looking at the 48-year history of this radio station. We are bringing back some of the voices, some of the people who have been the fabric of your lives. This was probably the most difficult 10 minutes of our entire day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we thank you for listening, and we thank you for your interaction. You can send us a text at 95955. You can reach us on social, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, and you can use the hashtag PLJ Memories or PLJ Reunion Day. We'll be back in just a minute.
WPLJ FM and HD1, New York, a Cumulus station.
It's 95.5 PLJ Reunion Day. Bringing back all your favorite DJs from the past 48 years.
WPLJ, New York, New York.